What's the story, Morning Glory? What is the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Married at First Sight UK Season 7, Episode 3. So all the couples that have already gotten married, and we have, I think, 4 of them, they are on their honeymoon. And each couple is at a different destination, which I totally appreciate it because Married at First Sight America, they all go to one location. Married at First Sight UK, at least for this season, everybody went to a different location. So Thomas and Adrian, they are in Mexico, and as soon as they get there and they start their honeymoon, we have some problems. There are some major personality clashes because Thomas is very over the top, he's very dramatic, he has a very dominant personality, whereas Adrian is very, very low key, and Adrian is really not jiving with Thomas's very flamboyant personality. And they were on they went paddleboarding, and when Thomas got on his paddleboard, it was just complete theatrics. You know, he is shrieking, he is screaming, he thinks he's gonna die, he's just making a big to do about it, whereas Adrian is very quiet, very peaceful, and he doesn't like all of that. He doesn't like all of that showmanship, and he says that when he tries to talk or whenever he tries to express himself, Thomas just kind of shuts him down because Thomas will just completely ignore him, or maybe Thomas didn't hear him at all because Adrian is very soft spoken, and Thomas will just go on, you know, blah blah blah, blabbing away, and Adrian cannot get a word in edgewise, and so they're having some major personality clashes. Adrian thinks that Thomas is too much. Thomas thinks that Adrian is not enough and is quite boring. So they have a couple that, how many do they have? Like, they had a couple of discussions that really didn't go too well, where Thomas felt like Adrian was trying to stifle him or try to change him by, you know, wanting him to be more quiet, wanting him to be a little bit more conservative. And yeah, Thomas just wasn't having that at all. He saw this as, you know, you're trying to control me, you're trying to change me, and this is who I am, take it or leave it. So I think it was their second day in Mexico. They had an argument and it went really, really bad. So they started off conversating. It didn't go well because Adrian was trying to let him know, hey, I'm just not used to all of this. You know, can you kind of pipe it down just a tad bit? Thomas didn't like it. He storms off, and that was the end of that. They didn't do anything else together the rest of the day. So later on, they have another talk, and this time it was a little bit more constructive. So they decided just to basically call a truce, and Thomas did realize that he was overshadowing Adrian, and so he said that he was going to be a little bit more aware of that, and he was going to try to change that. And they just promised each other they were going to communicate better, and they ended on a really good note. They hugged it out, and it looks like that they were going to try a little bit harder to get along. Moving on to George and April. So their honeymoon is in Jamaica, and it's the second day of their honeymoon, and April starts feeling confused, and she starts feeling a little bit overwhelmed because on day one, which we didn't get to see too much of, they spent a lot of time together. Now, this was the first day of their honeymoon, and already she was feeling like she was feeling smothered already. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, y'all just got married. I understand that y'all are strangers and y'all don't know each other, but because he didn't show day one, I don't know exactly what he was doing to make her feel smothered, because they don't really know each other. And I don't know. I can't speak on it because they didn't show us. But what we saw was on day 2, she was complaining about day 1 and saying that, you know what, we're moving a little bit too fast and we need to slow it down and we need to give each other some space. George did not like that because he is developing feelings for her and he just wants to get closer and closer. And now she's kind of like, you know, pulling away from him. So he doesn't know exactly where he stands with her. Is she digging me? Is she not digging me? You know, where is this really going? And so they decide to kind of spend some time apart. Later on, they have a conversation. In April, this is where she expresses to him that she feels very suffocated. And George himself, he tells her, well, I don't feel like that I've been doing anything that's been too much. I don't feel like I'm doing anything to make you feel suffocated. So now he he's thinking to himself, now I'm going to have to pull back, which is like he's going to have to kind of change how he really is, because maybe deep down inside he really wants to express his affection for her, but now he's going to have to stifle that. And it's because he doesn't want to feel humiliated. He doesn't want to express any feelings towards her, because then she's probably going to reject him and he's going to feel humiliated. And so he's like, you know what, if you want your space, girl, I got you. I'm gonna give you your space. And he walks away from her. I guess he felt bad about it, because later on they have yet another talk. Now I'm thinking these are the most talking people I've ever seen, because this is your honeymoon. I understand that y'all don't know each other, so it's not like you can do the normal things that a married couple will do on a honeymoon, because y'all basically just met. But can we do other things besides just having these really deep conversations about how we're not getting along? So later on they have another conversation, and he decides to apologize to her for walking away previously, and they do both agree to take things kind of slow. And they both admit that if there was no connection between us at all, then neither one of us would be here. We would have already gone home and gone our separate ways. So at least, we still have this desire to kind of stick it through. So we see them taking dance classes together, some Jamaican dance classes. We're having a blast at that. And so I'm thinking, okay, things are on the up and up with them. Well, how come the next morning, things have gone down the toilet with them? So the next morning he's sitting in the bed and he's telling us that the night before he found out that April cheated on him. And I'm just like, where did she have the time to do that? Because I just arrived in Jamaica. I just got married. Like, how does she meet someone, connect with them, and then end up, possibly sleeping with them so quickly? Where were you this whole time? Well, this is what actually happened. He was really putting 20 on 10, and he really over exaggerated. So when she comes into the room, they have a conversation about it. And what basically happened was, I guess they were in a hot tub with other people. And George must have gotten up and left. And then when he came back to the hot tub, April told him that she had kissed the other female that was in the hot tub. And to him, he kind of saw this as her cheating on him. And so she's trying to explain to him, we're playing a game. Okay, we're playing truth or dare. And it's no big deal. And that's all it is. And so he was like, he still wasn't really comfortable. He accepted her explanation, but then in his confessional, he still really wasn't comfortable with what she told him, about her kissing another woman. And so he was still kind of feeling, not really sure how to feel about it. And, I don't really know what's going on here, because he says he's developing feelings for her. So, this jealousy thing, I guess, was awoken in him when she told him that they were just playing a game. It was no big deal. She was kissing another woman. And even April says in her confessional, any other man would have been thrilled about it, to have a wife that is willing to kiss another woman. But George did not like it. He did not like it at all. And so I just don't understand what was going on. Where were the cameras? Why couldn't we have seen what was going on for us to come to our own conclusions? But she said they're just playing a game. They're playing truth or dare. And that's all it was. She wasn't falling in love with this other woman. I don't know. But I have a tendency to believe April, and I think George was doing the most. But if he would get this jealous over her playing a game, and what else was going on there? I mean, did he not know they were playing a game? Did he leave and then they were playing truth or dare, and all this happened while he was gone for a few minutes? And then he comes back. I didn't get it. I didn't understand, but I kind of leaned more towards April, kind of believing her explanation and thinking that maybe George did overreact. I don't know. Moving on to Shanita and Jordan. So their honeymoon is in Mauritius. Okay, these are some really nice destinations. Okay, they're honeymooning in Mauritius. We see them with a couples massage. They got real close and personal with that. And then they went dancing later. They had a good time with that. And then the next time we saw them, they hinted at the fact that they had consummated their marriage, because Shanita said that they were together in the hotel room and things got hot and heavy. And they did more than kiss and cuddle. So it seems like that they might have already consummated their marriage, because during that couples massage, it was getting hot and steamy. Moving on to Whitney and Duca. So they are honeymooning in South Africa, okay, because Married at First Sight America, they only go to like the Caribbean and that's it, to the Caribbean or Mexico. And yeah, that's all they do. And I think one time they went to just Florida during the quarantine, during COVID or whatever. They went to Florida. I don't know, but these destinations on the UK version are really nice. So Whitney and Duca, they have gone to South Africa, and during dinner, because Whitney herself, she is vegan. So Duca decides to order also for himself a vegan meal. And then he suggests that he could be vegan for a while for her, and it wouldn't be a problem for him. And she was like, oh, you'd really do that? And he was like, yeah, of course I would do that. I would do anything for you. And his agreeability and his eagerness to make her happy all the time, she sees it as him being fake. So Duca tells her that underneath her really tough exterior, that there's a really genuine, nice, sweet person. And he really wants to get that out of her. And Whitney's like, you know what? I really don't care what people think of me. I don't care if you see me as tough on the outside. I don't care if people consider me a bitch. I really don't care. This is who I am. Take it or leave it. Moving on from there. So they're on safari. And Whitney in her confessional says that Duca has many faces. He's one way on camera, he's another way off camera. She says off camera, he can get kind of snarky. And off camera, he has told her that he's coming across as the nice guy on camera. And people are going to see him as the nice guy, and they're going to see her as, this mean wife or this mean person. And they're going to feel sorry for him, and they're going to kind of see him as a victim because he's just so nice to her and she's so mean to him. And he made it seem like this is something that he's doing on purpose. Like on camera, he really wants to come across as the good guy. And so this is why she's saying that he's fake, because off camera, he's not the good guy, and at first he denies it. And then later on, when they're having dinner, she loses her ring, or she had lost her ring during the safari. And so he was like, oh, don't worry, we'll replace it. And she's like, you know what? I kind of like my hand without the ring. And so once again, she confronts him because he was like being really, like, oh, don't worry, baby, we'll get you another ring. It's no problem. So I guess this is what she considers him being fake. So she confronts him again, and she says, you're one way on camera, then you're a completely different person off camera. And I just want you to be real all the time. And he actually admits to having several faces. He says, well, between my on-camera self and my off-camera self, somewhere in the middle is the truth. And she's like, I really want to give this guy a chance. I really do. But he is just so fake, and I need him to be real. And she tells him, I just want you to be real. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, this is intense. Yeah. I kind of felt like during their wedding, Duca kind of came across as, because Whitney is difficult to deal with. And he kind of came across as, you know what, I'm going to see this through. I'm going to, find a way to get to her heart, even though, she comes off as really kind of rough around the edges. I'm still going to be here. I'm going to stay here until I make her love me and her softer side comes out. He really kind of seemed like he wanted to come off as a hero. Like, I'm going to take it. I'm going to take all of her abuse. I'm going to take all of her meanness, and I'm going to stand right here until the sweeter Whitney shows up, or whatever he was trying to do. That's how it seemed like during the wedding, when everybody else was like, Duca, we don't know about this. We don't know if this is a good match. No. There's a sweet woman inside her. There's a really, really, really sweet girl in there, and I'm going to stay here until she comes out. And it kind of seemed, it was a little bit too much. It was a little bit too much. Like, why are you caping so hard for someone who is being so mean to you? And it's because he really just wanted to come off as like the hero, come off as the nice guy. And then when the camera's off, he's probably like really giving her the business as much as she's giving it to him. I don't know, but this was a really decent episode. George, yeah, I think you were doing a little bit much. I think they were just playing a game, no big deal, but I don't know. We'll see how it all plays out. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, don't forget to rate the video, and if you like this content, go ahead and subscribe, and I will definitely talk to you later. Bye.